in the previous uprisings, the Iranian people questioned the US on where it stands. Will they stand on their side or beside their murderers? This question is more critical today than ever, considering the revolution developing across the country for the past 3 months. The US has this historic opportunity to stand on the right side of history.
Let me start off by thanking the Organization of Iranian Communities for putting together today's event on Capitol Hill. I'm thrilled to see so many Iranian Americans from across the country. And I'd like to thank and recognize the National Council of Resistance of Iran for their commitment to elevating your voices, the voices of Iranians inside of Iran, and in constantly advocating for the freedom of the Iranian people. So let us keep standing up to the regime's human rights violations and violence. Let us continue to protect those in Ashraf-free, and I am committed to doing that.
And let me say first that as we consider what should happen now, we have a responsibility, historic and moral, to look back and to pay tribute for all who have held this hope of a free Iran alive for decades now, courageous Iranian patriots both inside and outside the country. And I will say in this regard that no organization has done more to light candles of hope and freedom through the darkest days of repression and mass murder in Iran than the National Council of Resistance in Iran, led by Mrs. Maryam Rajavi. The torch of the NCRI grows brighter. In my opinion, with each passing day, the organization gives us confidence that the current regime will be overthrown, and most importantly, that when it is, there will be leaders ready to guide Iran smoothly into its free and democratic future.
So anyway, we live in historic times, and this is a historic moment in the times in which we live. Let's seize it. So I'll sit down with Jean, see what we can do to lend our voice to the people out on the streets and the villages and the towns of Iran, saying enough is enough. I think we've reached a point now in the 21st century where it's a time of choosing. So I choose the people of Iran over the Ayatollah.
We have seen extraordinary things happen with the Iranian people. Courage and heroism, this incredible willingness to do what is almost unimaginable, to put yourselves and your families' safety and security on the line for freedom. It's one of the things we herald of heroes in our own country's history, that we're willing to sacrifice so much, to put so much on the line. And of course, during times of great peril and great challenge, you have, unfortunately, great martyrs.
And so I wanted you to know that yesterday in the Foreign Relations Committee, I'm the only woman who sits on the Foreign Relations Committee here in our Congress. We need to change that. But we passed a resolution commending the bravery, courage, and resolve of the women and men of Iran, demonstrating in more than 80 cities, risking their safety to speak out against the Iranian regime's human rights abuses.
As you know, I've been working for some time now with the government in Albania, and I went to Albania to see people once we finally got them in a place where they were more safe than they had been before. But that challenge continues. Freedom matters. Freedom is worth fighting for. Freedom is worth encouraging. And what we're seeing in every province of the country shows that people are willing to risk their lives and even give their lives for freedom.
And so we have to use every device of our global, with all of our global partners that we have available to complete the job that you all are working so hard on. So to the Iranian people and to Iranian Americans, know that I'll stand with you every step along the way. And hopefully, we will see a change so that tens of millions of honest, hardworking, freedom-seeking Iranians begin to enjoy the freedoms.
This is a unified revolution, and it's been a long time in the making. You all know that because you have been working on this for a long time, for decades. And now is the time to stand with the Iranian people. Day 84 of the uprising. Here, they are chanting, "Death to Khomeini, death to the oppressor," whether it be the Shah or the supreme leader. No one knows this more than the MEK and those who are in Camp Ashraf. During this protest, there have already been hundreds who have been killed by this regime. We heard today, now there's one leader that has been working on this for decades, who has seen this revolution coming for a long time and has supported it. And that is Mrs. Rajavi, the president-elect of the NCRI. It was beautiful to hear her today, and Mrs. Rajavi has had the foresight to predict that women would lead this revolution. In a speech 17 years ago, she said, "In the tragedy of women in our enchained homeland, Iran, women's human identity has been denied. But I assure you that those oppressed today will be the victors of tomorrow." Now is the time for victory for the people of Iran. And we know that there is an alternative because Mrs. Rajavi and the NCRI have a 10-point plan, a 10-point plan that envisions freedom, democracy, a non-nuclear Iran, a peaceful Iran that respects human rights.
And so to the women of Iran, I want to say loudly and clearly that we are moved by your courage and your strength. And to all Iranians calling for their fundamental rights to be respected, let me say loudly and clearly that the United States stands with you. We are calling for an immediate end to the barbaric detention of peaceful protesters, an immediate end to the blatant human rights violations, and an immediate end to the persecution of Iranian women.
So thank you for being here. Thank you for all you represent. I think you know that most of us are firmly in your corner, and we're going to do anything that we can to push things forward. I can't match what Kelly said, and Senator Liberman, the great work that he does, and then Roy Blunt, I see him here that also is a tremendous champion. So thank you for allowing me to be part of this, and my commitment is to help any way we can, but certainly regarding nuclear weapons, human rights, all of those kind of things, again, we are firmly in your corner. But I can't tell you, how important it is that you're here, talking to people like us, talking to the people that represent you throughout the country, making a difference. There's simply no substitute that. So again, thank you very much.
The spark that lit this revolution a few months ago was really just a spark in a long chain of efforts since the 1979 revolution to overthrow this regime. Maryam Rajavi, who I have had the privilege of knowing, said it all too well, that women are leading this revolution. And in the revolution that they lead, they're offering a new hope and democracy for the people of Iran.